Okay, day 19. Well, not too much longer to go. Um, okay, so I am going to use last year's state test for today and tomorrow. Sorry, for tomorrow and the day after, the weekend. So this is going to be all the release questions from 2018. Okay. Um, Here we go. What is a what is a decimal equivalent to the fraction 8 over 15? So there's absolutely no way you can get this wrong. So if you punch in on your calculator 8 divided by 15, okay, you get this number here. And it goes on and on and on and on until there's no more room in the calculator, right? So now what's the number that's repeating? The 3 is the repeating. So we put the bar notation on top of the repeating number, in this case the 3. Don't put it on top of the 5 because the 5 doesn't repeat, so this is out. This is a terminating decimal, which is not the same as this. This one goes on forever, so that's garbage. And 0.53 again is a terminating decimal. This and this are not the same. And the only one that makes sense would be that one. Okay. 2, the circumference of a circle is 15 pi. So what is the area? Okay, so I know the circumference. So pi d. So remember, this is your area formula. To do the area formula, or to find the area, I need the radius, and I can't find the radius, right? Not yet. So I'm going to use a circumference, which is what's given to us, to find the diameter, and then cut that in half and use it here. So circumference here is 15 pi, so let me write 15 pi equals pi times d. Let's cut off pi from each side. And I have that the diameter is 15. Now if the diameter is 15, here's my circle. That diameter is 15. Half of it, which is the radius, so the radius would be 7.5. So now I can plug this in, and you can tell by the multiple choice answers they are in terms of pi, which makes our life much easier. So area equals pi times 7.5 squared to the second power, so 7.5 times 7.5 equals 56.25. And we don't have to multiply by pi to get a numerical answer. We're just going to leave it in terms of pi. So 56.25 pi, which is this one centimeters squared. So far so good. So far this test would have been easy for you guys. Number 4, spinners divided into 4 colored sections that are not of equal size: red, blue, purple, and orange. The arrow on the spinner is spun several times. The arrow on the spinner will be spun one more time. Based on these results, what's the probability that the arrow will land on the purple section? So the probability that it's going to land on the purple section. So let's add these up. So we got 15. So you always need a total, right? 15 plus 24 plus 12 plus 9. And that's going to give us 60 times. So they ran an experiment 60 times and spun the spinner 60 times. And it landed on purple, how many times? 12 times. And 12 over 60, if you can reduce this, you can divide this by 12 and divide the bottom by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1, and 60 divided by 12 is 5. So based on this experiment, we're going to predict the probability of landing on purple on the next one is going to be 1 out of 5. Number whichever. Bob buys eggs and potatoes at a store. He pays a total of $25.92. He pays $2.57 for the eggs. We buy 5 bags of potatoes that each cost the same amount. Writing the equation x that can be produced to determine the cost of x each bag of potatoes. So I know this much. So let me say, if I word this, I would write it this way. He pays $2.57 for the eggs, period. That's a total. So that represents all the eggs that he bought. Plus, what did he buy? 5 bags of potatoes. And we're going to call each bag of potato calls x 5 times the number of bags of potatoes, and all that cost 25.92. Right, so that would be my equation. Now, you notice that they they put it in terms of x. So if I were to solve this right now, so let me just make a story. Here's my variable x, which is being multiplied by 5 and then added to 257. And that's all going to give me 25.92. Even using the inverse operation, we're going to do minus 257 and then divided by 5. So we got to look for something that says minus 2.57 and divided by 5. So if I were to do this, I would do minus 2.57, minus 2.57 on the other side. These would cross out. I would have 5x left over, and 2592, and I know I'm minus 2.57 equals 23.35. So I'm just working this out so you can see what the process is. So now x, and then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to divide both sides by x, by 5, right? So divide this by 5 and divide this by 5, and x is going to give me whatever value. So I'm looking for something where I had, the first thing I did was subtract 2592 minus 257. That looks like this. And then I divided by 5. So this looks exactly what I did up here. This one, did we do 2592 divided by 5 first? No, we didn't divide first. We subtracted. So we're looking for something that has a subtraction first. So did we add 2592 plus 257? No, we didn't. So that's gone. And did we divide 25.92 divided by 5 and then subtracted 257? No, we didn't. So the first thing we did was we subtracted 2592 minus 2.57, and then we divided by 5. So the only one that makes sense is this one. So in this question on the test, I would actually work it out, and then by working it out, you will see the process that you went through, and you will be able to easily find the correct multiple choice. 5. The temperature shows the lowest temperature in degrees Fahrenheit on each day, on each of 5 days for a city. So this is, let's call it New York City. Monday, those were the temperatures. Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What is the mean temperature in degrees in Fahrenheit for those 5 days? So the mean is to add them up and divide it by 5. So we're going to divide something by 5. So let's add all this. So just got to make sure that in your calculator you enter this. 36, you can either enter it this way, minus 36, minus 25, plus 12, there's a plus here, minus 3, and plus 18. That's how I would enter in my calculator. Right? So if you want to, you could have enter it like this: plus negative 25, plus 12, plus negative 3, and plus 18. This would have been just as the same as the other one. So your choice. So I'm gonna do negative 36. Oops, negative 36 minus 25 plus 12 minus 3 and then plus 18. That's going to give me, should have given you negative 34. So my answer is going to be a negative number. I already know that, so I can cross this out and cross this out. It's either going to be 6.8 or 18.8, and the only one that makes sense, right? Because 30 divided by 5 is 6, so 34 divided by 5 shouldn't be too far over. So just confirm it, divided by 5, and you can see that in your calculator you get negative 6.8. So far, so good. Which expression is equivalent to negative 18 minus 64? So here, what you can do, so they did, what do you call? They did the factorization here. So one thing you could have done, so you could have used this, right? So I'm going to write I'm going to take the parentheses out because it's annoying. So negative 18 minus 64n. So write it like this. We can use the ladder method from last year. So think of a number that goes into 18 and 64. Well, 2 works. 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't. So let's stick to 2. 2 goes into negative 18, negative 9 times. So if you multiply 2 times negative 9, it gives you negative 18, right? So that's check. And then let's put the minus sign here. And 2 times what? 64 would be 32, but don't forget the n. So if we were to write it, one way of writing it would be 2 times negative 9 minus 32. And you can always check, right? Because these 2 multiplied gives you negative 18, check, and this 2, positive and negative, should give you a negative. So, but here's the thing, they're a little bit, I don't like when they do these things, you know. They're a little bit tricky here. So this answer we just found is completely fine, but they didn't do that. They made this guy negative. So I'm going to do the problem again. Negative 18 minus 64n. So instead of pulling out a 2, which I did here, I'm going to pull out a negative 2. So now you got to think, Negative 2 times what number is negative 18? Well, it can't be negative 9 because negative times a negative is a positive, right? So instead of negative 9, it should have been positive 9. And again, negative 2 times what is a negative? Well, if I write minus here, minus 32n, that's not going to work because negative 2 and negative 32 will be positive 64. So this has to be positive. So in my parentheses, I'm going to leave 9 plus 32n. And outside, instead of 2, which we had gotten earlier, we're going to put negative n. Notice a difference here. So when this was positive, everything here was negative, and when this is negative, everything here is positive. Now, if you do the trig property here and here, you'll get the exact same answer. It's just written a different way. So they chose it to write the answer in this format, where the term outside is the negative number. So negative 9, positive 9, and positive 32. So and I wasted 3 minutes of your life right now. Negative 9. It's this one. What you could have done before you've done any of this, because it's a multiple choice question, right? So a strategy what you could have done is, well, yeah, you could have solved it, or you could have just gone and say, here, look, negative 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. Check. A negative times a negative is a positive, right? Negative 2 times negative 32 should have been positive. Gives me a positive, which is not what we want. Garbage. Second one, negative C, negative 9, negative 2 times negative 9, negative 18. Check. Negative 2 times positive 32 is a negative 64. Check. So this one right away would have been our answer. So, and just to illustrate a little bit more on the multiple choice, so letter B, positive times positive is a negative, right? So there's no way it could have been negative 18. And letter D, you had positive 2 and positive 9. So again, 2 times 9 is 18, but it's positive, and we wanted a negative. So this is also garbage. 8, Bonnie deposits $770 in a savings account. The account earns 4.5 interest rate. No money is added or removed for the savings account for 3 years. Okay, so I equals PRT. I is the amount of money she's going to make, that the bank's going to give to her. The principal, how much she deposits, $70. The interest rate is 4.5, whereas the decimal is 0.045. And the time is 3 years, but remember, the time is in years, so we're going to write it, and that's fine. Time is in 3 years, period, so we write a 3. So just multiply that out. 70 times 0.045 times 3 years. And we get 9.45. And there is our answer. So far, so good. 7. Verda uses a sensor to measure the speed of a moving car at different times. At each time, the sensor measures the speed of the car in both miles and kilometers. The table below shows the results. So 11 miles is equivalent to 17.69 kilometers, 26 miles equivalent to 41.834, etc. Based on the results, which statement describes the relationship between m and the speed of the car, miles per hour, and k, the speed of the car in kilometers per hour. So we're looking for the constant of proportionality, right? So, and I'm thinking, oh, sorry, ignore what I just said, constant proportionality. So the speed of the car, which based on her results, which statement describes the relationship between m, the speed of the car in miles per hour, and k, the speed of the car in kilometers per hour. So let's see if it's proportional. So what you can do is see if same multiplies me by, are they being multiplied by the same number? If so, it's proportional. Why? So let's take the first one, and let's take this for example right now, and divide. So in your calculator, do this. Divide that by 11. See what you get. 7.699 divided by 11, and we get 1.609. Second one, it's 41.834 divided by 26, and we get 1.609. And the last one, just to confirm, 706 divided by 34. And for every single one of them, if you divide this by this, you get 1.609. So the multiplier here is 1.609, right? So 11 times 1.609 is 17.699. 26 times 1.609 is 41.834, etc. So the relationship is proportional because the ratio of m to k is constant. Yes, they all had 1.609. The relationship is not proportional, so this is garbage. The relationship is proportional because the difference between m and k, it's not the difference. We didn't find a difference here, right? It was a division, so this is gone. And this one says it's not proportional, so that's automatically gone. So we're looking for something that says it's proportional because the relationship is, the ratio, right, is constant. The ratio between m and k is constant, and it is, right? All being multiplied by the same number or divided by the same number going the other way. Which results in a value of 0. So if the temperature after a decrease of 5 from a temperature of -5. So if this is 0 and you're at -5 and it goes down, are you at 0? No, garbage. The height of the airplane after taking off from the ground level and rising. So here is the ground level. Here's your airplanes going up. It went. After taken off. So and the airplane took off and went 1,000 feet up in the air. Is it a 0? No, that's garbage. The amount of money received in change after making a $10 purchase with a $20 bill. So, so if you buy something at $10 and you get $10 back, are you at 0? No, you just spent $10, so you're -10, right? Getting the change. It doesn't change the fact that you spent and you're down $10, so that's garbage. The distance above sea level after increasing 24 meters from a depth of 24 meters below sea level. So that means you were at -24, you were at -24, which is below sea level, and then you went up 24 meters. Will you end up at 0? Yes. So this one is the one that you want. 10, the classes 3 junior high school raise money to buy new computers, blah, 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 each. So here are your price of computer. Mr. Moore's class raised 249. Miss Aguilar's raised 369.62 more than Mr. Moore's. And Mr. Berry raised 430.43 less than Miss Aguilar's. What's the total amount raised by all three classes? Okay, so let's go to Miss Moore. She raised 249, her class. Mr. Aguilar raised 396.2 more than Mrs. Moore. So Mrs. Moore raised 249, so let's add that to 396.62, which means Mr. Aguilar's class raised $645.62. So that's the total, right? Because it's whatever Mrs. Moore earned plus 396.62. And then finally, Mr. Berry, his class earned a little bit less than Mr. Aguilar's class. Not a little bit, quite substantially less than Mr. Aguilar's class. So how much less? 430. So we got to take Mr. Aguilar's class, 645.62, and we have to subtract, and they tell us to subtract 430, minus 430.43, minus 430.43, and that's going to give us 215.19. So this is how much each of the classes raised. This one, and that one. Now all you got to do is add now. 249 plus 645.62 plus 215.19. That gives us 1109.81, and here's our answer. 12. Okay, so Lee wants to save money on a new computer. Her computer is listed, so it's $400. On Saturday, the store will have a sale and discount the computer by 30%. Alright, shoppers who buy a computer that same Saturdays before 9 a.m. will also get an additional 10% of the sale value. So if Lisa goes there on Saturday and before 9 a.m., she gets two discounts, a 30% discount, and then a second discount, 10%. So how much will she pay? Well, two ways you can do this. So the quick way, here's the computer price. After discount 30%, she's going to be paying how much? For 70% of the value, right? You're going to have a new price, and then from that price, you're going to take another 10%, which means that you're going to be responsible for 90% of the price after this first discount. So you would get 400 times 70, so 400 times 0.70. So that means that after the first discount, the price of computer lowers to this. Then applying the second discount, you're going to multiply by 0.90 times 0.90 because you get a discount 10%. Multiply this by 0.90. This is this. And that's going to give us a total of $252. If you decided to do this the really long way, you can do, okay, here's $400. Let me find out what 30% of that is. And $400 plus 30% is 120. Right? So the discount here was 120. So let's subtract $400 minus 120, and you are left with 280. Now from 280, you're going to get a second discount. So you're going to do 280 times 0.10, which is 28. That's your second discount. So the discounted price is 280, and you subtract 28, and you're going to get 252. You notice you get the same exact answer, which is D. Okay, 11. All right, so this looks like a percent of change. 19 in 2013, we had 19.8 tons. The farm's wheat output increased by 9.8% from 2013. Okay, so from this, it grows by 9.8%. Okay, so let's see what the growth is. So so you had 12.8 tons in 2013. It's going to grow the output. Okay, they produce more wheat or farm more wheat, and it went higher by 9.8%. So we need to find out what 9.8% is. So 19.8. You can do it two ways again. You can find out what 9.8% is of 19.8 and then add it, or just do 19.8 times 1.098, and that means that in 2014 they grew to 21.74 tons. So, and just over here, I'm just going to multiply 19.8 times 0.098 for those of you who really insist on doing it that way. 19.8 times 0.098, and that gives you 1.94. Right? So if you add 1.94 plus 19.8, you get 4, 7, and 21. Notice that you get the same answer. So if you do it the quick way or the long way, same answer. So in 2014, it grew to 21.74 tons. And then from 2014 to 2015, it grew by another 5.1%. So it grew a little bit more, but 5.1% of this value, right? So if you were to just do it quickly, you can just do 21.74 times 1.051, and our final answer. So in 2015, after the growth of 5.1%, you get 22.85 tons, and all of it which has nothing to do with the problem, because they're not asking for the total, but they're asking how you would do it. Well, again, I guess you can see that we did this. So what we did this, what the heck, which expression? Yes, represents which expression represents A for estimating the total output wheat in tons in 2015. So because it's estimating, I guess they rounded 19.8 to 20. So what they did was 20, which is rounded, 19.8 rounded, and then they multiplied by 9.8. And 9.8 they multiplied by, what do you call? If you're doing it this, which is the quick way, you're going to multiply times 100% plus 10%, which is 110%. So this becomes 110%, which is 1.1. And then times, again,
How much did he grow in the second time? 5%, so that's 105% or 1.05. Right, so, and you get, let's see, your answer. And then, again, if you multiply all those three, if you multiply 20 times 1.1 times 1.05, you get 23.1, which is not that far from this value. Okay, so what you can, so you definitely know the additions would have been garbage. So you were stuck probably between this one and this one, right? So just be careful that this obviously B is the wrong answer, because if you multiply 20 times 10 times 5, you get 1,000, and that's no way the answer to this question. Okay. Which expression can go in the blank to make the equation true? So we got negative 4.5, so plus 4.4 plus something equals 0. So here's the thing though. You put in your calculator negative 4.5 plus 4.4 right now. Oops. Negative 4.5 plus 4.4 equals. So right now these two things, these two terms here, they're equals negative, they equal negative 0.1. So you need to put something in here. It's going to be positive 0.1, because both of these have to be opposite, right? So adding these two will result in 0. So you're looking at A, B, and C for something that's going to equal positive 0.1. These two, it's going to equal to 0 because they're opposite, so that's garbage. 7.2 plus negative 7.3, well, there's more negatives, so the negatives would win, so my answer would be a negative answer, and we're not looking for a negative answer, we're looking for positive, so that's garbage. This one is two negatives being added to each other, so two negatives added to each other to become a bigger, larger group of negatives, so that's also garbage. So the only one is this one. If you put this in your calculator, negative 6.7 plus 6.8, you're going to get 0.1, which is what we wanted. Right? 14. I don't know what we're doing here. So now you'll notice some of these questions were actually on your tests. So you might, this might be the second time or even the third time you're looking at it, but it's okay. A principal gathered the time in miles that his teachers and bus drivers live from school. The plots below show these data. So bus drivers, teachers. Which one is true? So we were looking for something that's true. The interquartile ranges for the bus drivers is twice the interquartile range for the teachers. That's not true, because you can tell that the interquartile range of the bus drivers is this, and the teachers are this. The teachers are definitely bigger, so garbage. The range of the distance for the teachers is twice the range of the distance for the bus drivers. So again, if you look at the range of the bus drivers, it's from here to here, and the range of the teachers is from here to here, and they're saying that's twice as big. Not true. And the interquartile range of the distance for the bus drivers, the interquartile range, which is this right here, is 5 miles less than the interquartile range distance for the teachers. Well, let's find out the interquartile range for the bus drivers. For the bus drivers would be Q3, which is 20, minus Q1, so it's 20 minus 10, and that's going to give us 10. For the teachers, it's 30, right? Q3 minus 15, which equals 15. So this says that the bus drivers, the IQR for the bus drivers is 5 less than the teachers. Well, that is true. The bus driver is 10 and the teachers are 15, and that makes them 5 less. So far, this is good. The range of the distance for the teachers is 5 miles less than the range of the distance for the bus drivers. No, the range of the teachers, let me just erase some of this stuff. The range, right? This to this of the teachers is not smaller than the bus drivers, but they are bigger. So this one, garbage. So the only one that makes any sense is C. That's it. No, we have one more. At midnight, the temperature was -8. So here's my thermometer. Here's 0, and here's negative 8. At noon, the temperature was 23, which means it went up. Well, let's make 23 sort of up here. Which expression represents the increase in temperature? So now, if you look at this. It was a negative 8. It went all the way to positive 23. So how much is it? Went up by how much? Well, from negative 8 to 0 is 8. From 0 to 23 is 23. So if we add these two, the temperature went up by 31 degrees up. So if you don't know how to do this, look for something that's going to result in positive 31. Well, A, it's a negative minus a negative, so that, it's already garbage. B, it's a negative minus the absolute value of 23. Well, let's take the absolute value. So negative 8 minus the absolute value of 23 is 23. So these two terms, result in positive 31? No, so that's garbage. Look at B. Absolute value of negative 8 is 8, and then you subtract 23. Do you think that's going to result in 31? Also garbage. So the only one that makes any sense is that one. And let's prove it. Negative 8 minus 23. So negative 8 minus 23, you can use a calculator. It's going to give you negative 31. Absolute value of negative 31 is 31. And isn't that what we're looking for? 31. And that's day something, 19.